The city was quiet under the pale glow of the evening sky. The streets empty, except for the faint hum of machines. In a small laboratory on the edge of the city, a boy sat alone, staring at his reflection in a cracked mirror. His name was Eli, and he was not like other children. He was the first human prototype, created to be stronger, faster, smarter than normal humans. But right now, he felt weak, small, and unwanted, outside the lab. Other children laughed, pointing at him, whispering, calling him names he could barely understand. "Look at him, he's a freak." One shouted, "Yeah, he's nothing." Another added. Eli lowered his head, holding back tears, but deep inside, a fire was growing, a feeling that he was meant for something more than this ridicule. He remembered the scientists' words when they first told him about his powers. "You are the future of Earth," they had said, "but the world may not understand you yet." He wanted to believe them, but at this moment, alone and laughed at, he felt like a mistake. As night fell, Eli left the lab and walked toward the city park, trying to think. The streets were dark, empty, but something felt wrong. Shadows moved strangely, slipping between the streetlights as if they had a life of their own. Eli stopped, looking around, his heart beating faster. He had felt this before, a strange presence following him, always just out of sight. Suddenly, a cold wind blew past, carrying a whisper, though he could not understand the words. The hairs on his neck stood up. He remembered the stories the scientists told him about dangers that lurked in the shadows, things that were not human, things that humans were never meant to see. He shook his head, trying to calm himself. "It's just my imagination," he muttered. But then, a faint growl echoed from the trees, low and deep. Eli froze, his eyes wide, from the darkness. Two glowing eyes appeared, staring at him, unblinking, unafraid. He knew instinctively that this was no ordinary animal. Something in his gut screamed that this was danger, something alive, dangerous, and aware of him. He turned to run, but the ground beneath him seemed to twist, shadows moving like water, blocking his way. The growl grew louder, surrounding him, filling the air with a fear he had never known. Then, just as quickly as it came, the shadow moved back, disappearing into the night. Eli fell to his knees, gasping for breath, his heart pounding like a drum. He realized he was being watched, and it was only the beginning. Suddenly, a soft voice called from the darkness. Gentle and almost musical. "Don't be afraid," it said. Eli turned and saw a girl, standing in the shadows, her eyes shining like stars. She was not human, he could tell, but there was something familiar, something kind about her. Before he could speak, the shadow moved again, closer, protecting the girl, its growl echoing like thunder. Eli realized then that he was stepping into a world much larger than he imagined, a world of aliens, predators, and secrets, and in that moment, he knew his life would never be the same again. The night seemed alive now, full of unseen eyes and hidden dangers. Eli took a deep breath, trying to steady his fear. He was laughed at, ridiculed, and weak, but somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark, a hint of courage. The first test was coming. The boy who had been mocked by the world was about to face the shadow that guarded a secret far beyond Earth. The night air was thick and cold. Eli's heart still raced from the shadow he had seen in the park. He could not stop thinking about the girl, standing in the darkness, her eyes glowing like tiny stars. Something about her made him feel both afraid and curious at the same time. He had barely taken a few steps when the ground beneath him seemed to shift. A low growl rumbled from the shadows again. Deeper this time, closer. Eli froze, staring at the black shapes moving between the trees. He could see nothing clearly, but he could feel the predator's eyes on him, watching, waiting. Suddenly, the shadow sprang forward, faster than anything Eli had ever seen. It was huge, moving like smoke, yet solid and sharp. Its claws glinted under the faint moonlight, and its glowing eyes locked on Eli. He turned and ran, his feet pounding against the cold ground, branches slapping his face. Every step he took, he could hear the shadow moving faster, always just behind him. Eli stumbled and fell to the ground. Scraping his hands and knees, the shadow loomed above him, its growl filling the air like thunder. He had never felt such fear. But then, he remembered something the scientists had told him. "You are the first prototype, Eli. You are stronger than you think," they had said. He took a deep breath and tried to stand, but the shadow lunged, its claws swiping just above his head. At that moment, a flash of light shot from the trees, blinding and warm. The shadow froze, growling, and turned toward the light, its glowing eyes narrowing. Eli looked up and saw the girl standing there, her small hands glowing with a soft energy. The shadow stepped back, almost bowing to her, as if it could not harm her. Eli was confused, watching as the shadow circled her, protecting her instead of attacking. The girl's voice was calm, almost commanding. "Go," she said softly to Eli. "Run while you can, and do not look back." Eli wanted to ask who she was, why the shadow was following him, but he had no time. He ran through the trees, branches cutting his arms, cliffs scratching his face. He did not stop until he reached the small bridge over the creek, his chest burning, his heart pounding like a drum. He paused there, looking back. The shadow had disappeared into the darkness, but he could still feel its presence, heavy and watchful, and the girl, she was gone too, vanished as mysteriously as she had appeared. Eli fell to his knees, gasping for air, feeling a strange mix of fear and awe. He realized that he had just faced something beyond human, something alien and powerful, and somehow he had survived. Eli's mind raced with questions. Who was the girl? Why was the shadow protecting her? Why had it attacked him? He knew one thing for sure. He had stepped into a world he could never ignore. A world full of secrets, dangers, and beings far beyond anything he had ever imagined. As he started to walk home slowly, Eli noticed something on the ground where the shadow had been. A small, glowing stone, pulsing gently with light, almost as if it had a heartbeat. He picked it up, feeling its warmth in his hands. It was a message, or maybe a key, something that the girl had left behind for him. Eli felt a strange connection, as if the stone was calling him, whispering secrets he could not yet understand. He knew the night was far from over. The shadow predator had not given up, and the alien girl's world was waiting for him. Eli clenched, the glowing stone in his hand, his fear slowly turning into determination. He was the first human prototype, and now he understood that his life was no longer ordinary. The real challenge was just beginning. The forest was quiet again, but Eli could feel the shadows moving, alive and patient. He looked at the sky, the stars shining faintly above, and in the distance, a dark shape slipped through the trees, watching him, waiting for the next moment. Eli held the glowing stone tightly in his hand as he walked through the quiet streets. His mind was full of questions, but one thing was clear. He could no longer live an ordinary life. The stone pulsed softly, like a heartbeat, guiding him, pulling him toward something unknown. He followed it instinctively, deeper into the forest, where shadows lingered and moonlight barely touched the ground. As he reached a clearing, Eli stopped, astonished. Before him was a hidden world, unlike anything he had ever seen. Strange plants glowed faintly in the dark, and soft lights floated in the air like fireflies. The air smelled different, fresh, metallic, and alive. It was quiet, but it felt alive, almost like the world was watching him. Eli took a careful step forward, the stone glowing brighter in his hand. He noticed movement among the glowing tree shapes that shifted too quickly to be human. And then he saw her, the alien girl, standing in the center of the clearing. Her eyes shone brighter than before, and her small hands glowed with soft energy. She looked at Eli with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "You followed it," she said softly, her voice melodic and calm. Eli nodded, unsure if he should speak. What is this place?" he asked, his voice trembling. "This is my world," she replied simply, "or part of it. I am here to observe humans and to protect my kind. The shadow you saw is my guardian. It protects me, and it will attack anyone who threatens me." Eli's mind raced. He thought of the shadow, its glowing eyes, the growl that had shaken him. He realized the danger he had faced, and why the shadow had been so powerful. He looked at the glowing stone, now warm in his hand, and understood it was a message, a sign that the girl had chosen him to know her secret. He swallowed hard, feeling both fear and awe. "I just want to help," he said quietly. The alien girl studied him for a moment, then nodded slightly, as if testing him. "You have courage," she said. "Not many humans would step into this world after seeing the predator. But courage is not enough. You must also understand danger and learn to survive it." Suddenly, a sound broke the quieter, soft rustle, then a low growl. Eli's heart jumped. The shadow was there again, moving silently among the glowing trees, The girl raised her hand, and the shadow paused. As if waiting for her command, Eli realized something important. The predator was not mindless. It followed orders, and it was loyal only to her. It was clear that stepping into this world was not just dangerous, it was a test. The girl took a step closer to Eli, her glowing hands lighting up the path. "You must be careful," she said. "Earth is not ready for what I protect, and neither are humans. But you are different. You are the first human prototype, and that makes you special. The world you know will change, starting with you." Eli looked at her, feeling a mix of fear, wonder, and excitement. He knew his life had changed forever. The stone pulsed again, stronger this time, and he felt it guiding him deeper into the alien world. Strange creatures moved in the shadows, and he could feel their eyes on him. Some were curious, some dangerous, but all were part of this secret world. Eli took a deep breath, gripping the stone tightly. He knew the shadow predator could attack again at any moment, but he also knew he had to face it, to protect the girl if needed, and to understand the secrets of her world. As he stepped forward, the forest seemed to shift around him, alive and aware, and in the distance, glowing lights marked the path to something much larger. Eli's journey had just begun, and he could feel the weight of a destiny far greater than anything he had imagined. The night was alive, full of secrets, dangers, and unseen eyes, and for the first time, Eli felt something he had never felt before. He felt ready. The forest was alive with shadows, glowing softly under the strange lights. Eli's heart pounded in his chest, every step echoing through the alien world. He could feel the eyes of the shadow predator on him, watching, waiting. The glowing stone in his hand pulsed like a heartbeat, guiding him, but also warning him. Suddenly, a low growl shook the clearing, and the shadow leapt from the trees. It moved faster than anything Eli had ever seen, its claws slicing through the air, its glowing eyes locked on him, full of anger and hunger. Eli barely had time to react, diving to the side as the predator landed with a thud behind him. Branches splintered and leaves flew as it circled him, preparing to strike again. The alien girl appeared, her hands glowing brightly, raising a shield of soft light. The shadow hesitated, growling low. Its loyalty clear, it would not touch her. Eli realized then that he had to fight smart, not just run. He clenched the glowing stone, feeling a strange energy coursing through his body. He had always been told he was a prototype, but he had never felt his power before until now. With a deep breath, Eli moved toward the shadow, keeping his eyes on its glowing claws. He dodged another swipe, rolling on the ground, and grabbed a fallen branch. It was not a weapon, not really, but he swung it with all his strength. The shadow lunged at him again, faster than before, but the stone in Eli's hand flared. A shock of light shot toward the predator, forcing it to stumble back, hissing. For the first time, Eli felt that maybe, just maybe, he could survive. From above, a dark figure watched silently, hidden among the glowing trees. It was the alien king, observing Eli's fight, testing his courage. His presence was overwhelming, though invisible, and Eli could feel it pressing against him. The predator hissed and froze for a moment, as if sensing the king's power. Eli took advantage of the pause, moving closer to the shadow. Using the stone's light to guide him, the predator roared, charging at him with renewed fury. Eli ducked and rolled, the ground shaking beneath him. The alien girl's light flared brighter, and the shadow faltered again. Eli leaped, striking the ground near it with the glowing stone, and a shockwave of light spread. The predator snarling, and Eli saw a chance. He ran toward the girl. The shadow hesitated, growling, but he did not attack, waiting for the alien king's command. Eli finally reached the girl, panting and bruised. "You did it," she said softly, her eyes shining with approval. "Not all humans could face the shadow and survive. You are the first prototype, and you have shown courage." The alien king stepped out from the shadows then, tall and imposing, his presence filling the clearing. Eli and the girl both froze, awed by his power. "You have potential," the king said in a deep voice that seemed to shake the air. "But potential alone is not enough. You must learn, fight, and survive. Earth's future may depend on you." "Human." Eli swallowed hard, feeling both fear and determination. He looked at the shadow, now calm, circling the clearing like a loyal guardian. He understood that this world, this challenge, was bigger than anything he had imagined, and for the first time, he felt ready to face it fully. The girl touched his arm gently, guiding him toward the center of the clearing. "Your training begins now," she said. "The shadow, the dangers, the secrets, they are all part of what you must learn. But you are no longer just a boy who is laughed at. You are the first human prototype, and your journey is only beginning." The clearing fell quiet, the glowing trees humming softly, the shadow prowled nearby. The alien king's gaze never leaving Eli, and Eli, for the first time, felt alive, ready to fight, ready to grow, ready to face whatever came next. The clearing was quiet, but the air felt alive, humming with energy. Eli stood in the center, the glowing stone still warm in his hand. The shadow predator prowled nearby, calm now, watching him, and the alien girl stood beside him, her glowing hands lighting the path ahead. The alien king's presence pressed down on Eli, heavy and commanding. "You have survived the shadow," the king said, his deep voice echoing. "But survival is only the first step. You must understand courage, loyalty, and strength if you are to fulfill your purpose." Eli nodded, his heart racing. He felt fear, but it was no longer paralyzing. Now it fueled him. It made him sharper, stronger. He remembered the bullying and ridicule from Earth, the mocking faces, the laughter. All of that had led him here, to this moment. And for the first time, he felt proud of who he was. Proud to be the first human prototype. The alien king gestured toward the shadow predator. "Your next trial is not to fight, but to earn trust," he said. The predator moved closer, its glowing eyes fixed on Eli. Eli took a deep breath, kneeling slowly, keeping his hands visible. The predator sniffed the air, circling him, growling softly at first. Then, after a tense moment, it bowed slightly, acknowledging him. Eli had earned its respect. The first sign that he could truly stand among these beings. The alien girl smiled, her voice soft and gentle. "You see, Eli, courage is more than strength. It is the choice to face fear and do what is right. You have passed the first test, but the journey is only beginning." Suddenly, the forest shifted, glowing trees bending slightly as if alive. Eli felt energy, flowing through the ground, through the air, and into him. His stone in his hand pulsed stronger than ever, connecting him to the alien world. He could feel its secrets, the history of the girl's people, the power of the shadow predator, and the eyes of the alien king. He realized that he was now part of something larger than Earth, larger than humans. He was part of a universe full of secrets, danger, and possibility. The alien king stepped closer, his gaze piercing. "You have courage, human. You have the potential to bridge two worlds. Earth laughs at you now, but one day, humans will see your value." Eli's chest swelled with determination. He would no longer hide, no longer let fear control him. He was a human, yes, but he was the first prototype, a protector, a warrior, and a friend to beings beyond his world. The alien girl touched his shoulder, guiding him toward the edge of the clearing. "Your training will continue," she said. "You will learn to control your powers, to fight, and to protect, but tonight, you have proven yourself." Eli looked at the glowing forest, the predator, the girl, and the alien king. He felt a mix of pride, fear, and excitement. For the first time in his life, he believed in himself. The boy who was laughed at, mocked, and seen as weak had become someone new, someone ready to face any danger, to protect those who could not protect themselves, someone who could change the fate of Earth and maybe even the universe. The shadow predator bowed one last time and disappeared into the trees. The girl and Eli stood together, watching the stars above. Eli held a glowing stone, now calm and warm in his hand. He felt its power, but also its guidance, and he knew one thing clearly. This was only the beginning. The night was quiet again, but Eli's heart was alive. He was the first human prototype, and he had survived the shadows. He had earned respect, found courage, and glimpsed a universe full of wonders. And somewhere in the distance, hidden among the glowing trees, new challenges awaited. But Eli was ready. He took a deep breath, looking at the alien girl. "Let's begin," he said quietly, and together, they stepped forward into the unknown, the first human prototype, ready to face the universe.